Hey there, and welcome to my channel. It is a new month, a new year, and if you are like most people, you want to get started on the right foot with your finances and take control of them. If you're like most people, you also probably spent a ton of money in December, and you might be inclined to think, let me just bury my head in the sand, not even figure out how much I spent. Let me just start fresh. But let me tell you, it's really important to look back at your spending for December before you start fresh for January. So today I am going to do my December budget wrap up, budget report to show you how much spending we did. And it took me a little bit longer to go over our numbers for December because there were so many more transactions. We celebrate Christmas. We were buying a lot of gifts. So this is where keeping updated weekly is really, really helpful. Even with that, it still took me a little bit longer, but I am ready now to share my budget report and our spending for December. So let me pull open my template here. I'm just going to go ahead and hop right into it. Starting with our income, my husband's salary, so he usually makes the same every month. He got paid a little bit extra this month. He's supposed to be right at $6,000. He got $6,049. So he ended up with $59 more than planned. He had some extra training, so I think he got paid an extra $100. So we ended up seeing 60 of that, which wasn't counting on. That's always a good problem to have. My business, we just plan on 100 because we invest $100 of my business income. And then the rest, so I got paid almost $1,500 is what I made. So that money we are putting towards, it's supposed to be our fun money. We live off of my husband's income, and then money I make is supposed to be towards fun stuff. And right now we're doing an addition on our house. So it's all going into our garage addition, which is not very fun to me. Let me know if you had extra money where you would put your fun money. I'd love to know. Because the garage was fun the first month or two. It's not so much fun anymore. Interest, we have a lot of our money in online savings accounts. So we earn a little bit of interest every month. We don't plan on it. We don't budget for it. We just let it accumulate. So one of our online savings accounts is for our emergency fund. So we just let that money that gets deposited, the interest, it just sits in there and increases our emergency fund. The other one's in a vacation fund, and then our garage fund. So we just let it accumulate. So we earned $71 this year. You'll see later on, we just put it back into those funds. We also, this is not technically income, but we had a rebate. So we are doing that addition. We paid for insulation. We paid for them to insulate the garage and apartment. We also had them upgrade some of the insulation inside of our house. And when we did that, we had to pay up front. But they gave us the numbers. They told us we'd be getting this rebate and then also a tax credit when we file our tax refund. So we paid it all up front, and we just got a check in the mail that we were not expecting. I had totally forgotten. I knew we were going to get the rebate eventually, but I wasn't planning on it. So we deposited that check. That money is just going to go right back into our house update money because we pulled it out of that when we paid for the insulation. So that rebate will just go right back in there. So it's not really income. We're just getting it back, but I like to keep track of it. So I included it here. Also, my husband, my mother-in-law is a widow, and my husband goes over there quite often. And my kids, they mow the lawn, take care of a lot of things, and they help her out often. So we were there for several hours one day raking. And so she gave us $80 to take us out to eat that night. That was what it was for, because we never go out to eat, and our kids really like doing that. So because they're always over there helping, she gave us $80. So we went out, used that money to go out to eat. Then we got cash back. So the way we handle Christmas is we use credit cards and pay them off every single month. And then when Christmas rolls around, whatever we've accumulated in our cash back, that is our budget. So we had planned on having $825 cash back, and that was going to be our Christmas budget. We ended up having $856. So that is the cash back we got off of our credit card. And this is our one main credit card that we use for pretty much everything. That ended up being $856. But then we also got some additional cash back. We opened up a new credit card. Now, I know a lot of people that do the credit card hacking and have credit cards for everything. They have 10 different credit cards. That's not us. I don't like doing that. I did test out a travel credit card. And so we've been trying that out. We got a bonus. So we got a bonus and then had a little bit of cash back. So we ended up getting $339 on that card. And we did not include that in our Christmas budget. We put that elsewhere. But what we have now is 2 credit cards. One is an old credit card that we've had for years and years. So we keep it. We just have like 1 monthly payment going on that every single month. And then we have a credit card with just flat 2% cash back. And that's what we use for pretty much everything. I'm not a big fan of the credit card hacking. I know it works for some people. Let me know if you like it, what credit cards you use, and if you like them. I just like the flat cash back. That's what works for us. So our total income ended up being a lot more than expected, which is great because we went over budget for Christmas. So let's talk about that. Moving down to our expenses, we tithe 10%. We planned 900, but we ended up spending 1,245. We pay a tithe on our gross income. So we made more. My husband made more than planned. I made more than planned. So we tithe more than planned. So 345 more, but that's a problem I love to have because that means we're making more. So then I move on to our expenses. I start with the fixed, boring expenses that are every single month. And then I move down to the ones that we have a lot more control over. The fixed expenses are a little bit easier to plan for. Our mortgage is exactly what we planned. Our electricity, $60 a month. We are on an average payment plan for all of our utilities. It varies depending on where you live, what your city offers. All of ours offer some type of average payment plan, which I like because then you don't worry about an electric bill that's $60 one month and $200 the next month. You do an average. So look into that, see if your city or county offers that. So our electricity is exactly what we planned on. Our natural gas was exactly what we planned. Our city bill was exactly what we planned. Actually, no, it's 49 cents more than planned because I forgot. Our bill is 196 and they add 49 cents as a fee. So it was 49 cents more than planned because I forgot that when I budgeted. Life insurance is the same every single month. This is my term life insurance, $11.10 for the month. Car insurance, we get a discount because I have like the safe driving app downloaded. So it tracks my drives. And because I'm a safe driver, we got it was like a 9% discount. And then I think when they renewed it, I dropped down to an 8% discount. Apparently I got worse at driving. So it was $1 more than we planned. Phone bill was exactly what was planned. Internet, exactly what was planned. Gas for our vehicles, we went over by $3.85. Now we're moving on to those more variable expenses that you have more control over. The fixed ones, there's only so much you can't change your mortgage unless you sell it, and that's a long term. Like in the short run, there's not a whole lot you can do for most of these. This is where I find people have a much harder time controlling these, which is why I like to share our budget to show you how we handle them. I've always been doing one-on-one coaching. I've stopped doing that, but most of my clients, I am finding they need accountability every month or every week. They need someone to help them. So that's why I have started Fit Finance Club. It's a membership. I'm going to include a link to it right here. It's a monthly membership where I'm helping people stay accountable. We have expert interviews. We do live coaching calls where you can ask any questions. We have a Slack community, so there's 24/7 interaction with the community, and I answer questions. There's email coaching with me. Today, I launched it. Today is the first day of it, and today is the last day to get at the founding price, the founding members price of $13 per month. So if you want to go to that, sign up for it. You can cancel anytime if you decide you don't need it. But if you want that extra accountability to stick with your budget, join us for the founding price at $13 per month because tomorrow it will be going up. Okay, moving on. Piano. We only paid $60. We ended up not doing one lesson. New Year's Eve, I think, is when her lesson was supposed to be. So it was only $60 for the month. Guitar, same thing, was only $20. Because of the holidays, we only paid $20 because he didn't have as many lessons. Groceries, we budgeted 700, we spent 818. This includes our groceries and basic household items like bathroom stuff, cleaning supplies. I feel like every single month I go over a little bit, but no matter how high I budget, I always go over. So I don't want to increase our grocery budget, because if I increase it to 800, we'll probably still go over a little bit. So with all of the holidays, we had some family come to our place for Christmas. I feel pretty good about that. I don't feel too bad about going over budget. Eating out, we did go over, but like I said, my mother-in-law gave us money to go out to eat. So we know we spent more than normal for eating out. Miscellaneous was higher than normal. My husband had to do an online class for some certification. He's a high school teacher. And we ended up having to pay like a random $65 fee that we weren't counting on. So I just pulled it out of miscellaneous. Kids' money, they have jobs they do. Some of them they don't get paid for, but if they do all of them, they do get paid for some of them. Most of our kids do almost all of their jobs. They just don't mark off their chart. They're lazy, and so they don't get paid. But we have one kid that she marks hers off most weeks. And so she ended up with $13. Over the holidays, a lot of those things slid. And then entertainment, I planned on $25. We didn't spend a dime on entertainment for all of December. We were very, very busy, but it was like family parties. So we spent money on food and getting places, but we didn't pay for, and well, we did go to a to a concert, but my parents found out about it and got tickets last minute and invited us to go with them. So we ended up not paying anything for entertainment. So we did go over on expenses by $139, but I feel fine with that because our income was higher. I like to focus on the overall number. It's okay if we went over in groceries a little bit because we're going to be under somewhere else. But let's move on to our sinking funds or our short-term savings goals. Our emergency fund, we did not add anything to it. It's fully funded. But like I said, we get interest. So the interest we let accrue in there. So we earned almost $70 of interest in there. So we have $16,800 in our emergency fund. My husband's personal money, we budgeted $50. He got $50. He did not spend anything. So he now has $100. Yeah, a couple months ago, he drained his account. I can't remember what he bought. Bike stuff, probably. My fund money, we budgeted $25. We put $25 into my fund, and I spent almost $10. So I now have $142 in mine. My husband never buys anything. He doesn't buy anything for months, and then he will spend a huge chunk of money on either electronic or bike equipment. I spend a little bit here and there. That's just how we work. Our life insurance, we budgeted $68. We put $68 into our savings account. This is for my husband's life insurance. We get a discount for paying for the year. So we set aside the money every month. So we now have $143 set aside for life insurance. House maintenance, we budgeted $250. We put $250 in and we spent $258. We're trying to buy a new washing machine. It's on its last leg. We have to use tie-down straps from our truck to keep the door on while it's going so water doesn't leak. And we keep increasing our house maintenance, but then stuff keeps coming up. So we're hoping the washing machine lasts until we can build up some of that from there. So we now have 65 cents left in our house maintenance. Vacation, we budgeted $200. We put in $200, plus we earned a little bit of interest, but we spent $1,400. So our account is negative 521. So that obviously cannot happen. So I'm going to have to pull money from somewhere else. I will show you how I handle that in just a minute. It's our 20th anniversary coming up in 2025, and we have been planning a trip and going back and forth. My husband did an extra 32 hours of something for work, so he will be getting he'll be getting a chunk of change for that. He thinks it'll be around $3,000. So we decided to take a trip. He wants a new bike, but we decided to take a trip and it won't cost the full $3,000. So we're going to take a trip, just the two of us. And then whatever's left over, he will put towards his new bike that he's building. but we thought he would get that extra like $3,000 in December. He ended up not getting it in December, so it'll probably come in January. So we booked our airfare and we paid for 1 or 2 Airbnbs. We went ahead and did that. And so now we've overspent our vacation budget. So we are going to pull that out of our house update fund. So the way I'm going to handle that is, let's go down to our house updates. This is all of the money I earn we put towards house updates. We didn't plan on anything, but then we ended up with 2,183. So we put the money I earned for my income plus the rebate we got for our insulation. So we put all of that in. So now we're at 11,300 basically. So what I am going to do is, we're short $521. I am just going to take that out of our house updates. So I'm going to add, we're just going to go 600 to be safe. So I'm going to add $600 to that. And so that means I will take 600 out of our house update fund and I will move it into our vacation fund. So now I will have to adjust these numbers. So I will subtract the $600. Whoops. But you got to do formulas correctly or it won't work. Okay, so I'll take 600 out of our house updates fund and I'll go do that as soon as I'm done filming, take it out. And so we won't go negative in our vacation fund. So that means we will now have under 11,000 in our house update fund. Clothing, we budgeted 100. We put 100 into our clothing fund and we ended up spending $126. So we have 58 cents left. We have a lot of these sinking funds. We were very, very close. So the way I like to track them is throughout the month as I am spending something. Where is clothing? Way over here. As I spend something, I put it in here so I can see how much we have left. The formulas, they copy from here. So as I enter in the numbers, so I start with the amount we have in, and then as I enter in, it shows me what I've spent and how much I have left. So because the formula automatically populates, it takes the end balance here. And now that I've entered in the number, it adjusts it. So when I started off clothing, we had it was 126 here. So it automatically copies it. So it was 126 is what it was. And then or plus a few cents. So I type in when we spend something so I can see how much we have left. So we were actually at the store. We found my husband was wanting I think we wanted some new snow pants for one of our kids or my husband. And we were debating, like, it wasn't a great price, but it was a good brand. And so I pulled open the spreadsheet, looked and saw that we were almost out of money in our clothing fund. So we did not buy it. So I like having that so I can look, and if you use a budgeting app, it's the same way, looking to see how much you have to spend in a category before you buy things, so it will influence your decisions. Because if I don't do that, then I probably would have gone over in all of my budgets. So we have 58 cents in our clothing fund. Gift fund, same thing. We budgeted 50. We put 50 into it. We spent 191. So we now have $8.88 in our gifts. Car expenses, we budgeted 100, put 100 in, and we didn't spend anything. So we now have 460 in there. It's usually in the spring that all of our registration is due for all of our vehicles, and we have to do emissions and inspections. And then we'll need some oil changes in the near future. So we're saving up for those expenses. Okay, Christmas, we had only budgeted 825. We ended up with 856 cashbacks. We had more than planned. We spent all $856. So that's down to zero. We actually spent a few dollars over that, but I pulled it out of the house update. I think we went, I don't remember how much, 258 maybe. We went over budget in Christmas, but I knew that we were having extra cash. We were getting cash back. We earned more than planned. I'm usually really good about Christmas, sticking to our budget. You can see here, as I was tracking it, we had a few unplanned expenses. We like to donate, spend some money on giving, but this year we didn't budget any for giving because someone in our church donated a bunch of fabric, and so they needed people to make scarves and hats. So we did that. We volunteered lots of time, but we didn't spend any money. But then there ended up being some giving trees, so we ended up spending some money on that. We wanted to get a ping pong table, but we couldn't find one in our, so we like to do a bigger family gift and not so many little gifts for our kids. So we wanted a ping pong table, but we couldn't find one for a good price that fit, or we couldn't find one that we liked that fit in our budget. So we decided not to get the ping pong table. So we bought a few other things. And then like 2 days before Christmas, there was a flash deal at our sports store. And so we ended up getting a ping pong table. We returned 1 or 2 of the other items. So we knew we had gone over budget. We could have returned more, but we knew that we had enough cash for the month that we were fine going over budget. So we have 0 left for Christmas. So we are starting fresh in 2025. All of our cash back each month from our credit card will go into our Christmas fund. Roth IRA for my husband, we budgeted $400, put $400 in. Roth IRA for me, we budgeted $400, put $400 in. Mutual funds, these are some non-retirement investments. We just put in $100 every month. I'm going to update this to just do 10% of whatever income I make. We are rearranging some of our investments, so we're just going to do 10% from here on out in 2025. So you can see overall, after everything is said and done, we went over $106, which is really sad because look at how much more money we made than usual. But we keep a cushion. We like to have about $1,000 cushion in our checking account. So I could go and pull $106 out of one of our savings accounts. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to know that our cushion's gotten eaten up. So in January, maybe we can try to build up that cushion. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. And if you are feeling discouraged, don't feel ashamed or disappointed or discouraged with yourself. Learn from your mistakes. If you spent way too much on Christmas this year, then learn for next year. Start setting aside now in January. Put a little aside every month for the holidays for next year. Or think of what things you can do to cut back for next year. Look at December, look at your past, and make adjustments based on that. Just learn from your mistakes. Don't feel discouraged or stressed. And if you do need that extra accountability, want a community going through it with you to support you, that link to Fit Finance Club, and that link will give it to you for $13 a month if you sign up today. If you have any questions about it, leave a comment or shoot me an email at brittany@brittanyflammer.com and I will answer your questions. Otherwise, Happy New Year. If you want help getting started with your budget, I do have our January budget up as well as our annual budget. I do a budget for the whole year and I look at our sinking funds. I have videos on all of those. Feel free to check those out. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. I gotta find the button to end it. I hate this part.